Greetings. Welcome to ITR Live. I'm your host, Chris Hagenow, and we are back here in the Hendrickson Library at the Center for the Preservation of Western Civilization at ITR World Headquarters in Central Iowa. We are back with another fun-filled, action-packed episode of the gold standard in Iowa conservative entertainment. I didn't say that twice in the intro, did I?
It sounded good.
It's getting long. Anyway, so already spoiled the fun part here for today is that we are once again joined in studio by Dr. Sarah Curry. Welcome.
Oh, you use the formal title.
Yeah, you like that? Well, so...
I only use that when people don't listen to me.
Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, when they think they're smarter than everybody else.
All
I'm
right.
like, oh, now it's doctor to you.
Okay, well, good. Well, we are always thrilled to have you here. The listeners enjoy hearing from you. And so we just wanted to kind of check in today on some of the things that you're working on and get people up to speed. So, unfortunately, we don't have trivia today unless you've got something. I don't even have like a boring trivia question like in the can ready to go, which is disappointing. So we're just going to skip right to that.
Yeah, let's just skip
All
the
right.
trivia. I have trivia, but it's not anything that's no.
It's not even appropriate. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's probably like parent
I got
trivia.
it. What's your icebreaker question? You ever been this, like you've been in like a meeting or something?
I hate those.
I know I hate them, but I'm going to ask you, what's your icebreaker?
Icebreaker
tell us
question?
something. Tell us something about yourself that people don't know or that they wouldn't believe.
I used to play women's professional tackle football.
Yes, there you go. I was hoping you'd say that. So there you go. What you didn't know about Dr. Sarah Curry is that she used to play professional women's tackle football.
I did.
And there's not even like the other one, like which of the truth and a lie. Like that's just actually
And
a
the
thing.
fun was we were allowed to horse collar. So, yeah, it was good.
Sounds to me like sportsmanship may not have been the primary.
Now, when they all emptied the benches and got in the brawls, I stayed out of it. I did not.
To be
do
fair,
that.
I'm not sure that horse collar tackles aren't still legal in the WNBA by watching some of that.
Yeah. Good times.
All right. So you got a lot going on professionally and personally. So one of the goals for today, and I joked about this before we went live here, is to not get Sarah so riled up about local governments and property taxes that she goes into labor. So anyway, if we get close, just
That's true. I was having Braxton Hicks contractions walking up the stairs.
I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know. But yeah, so if I, as your host, seem a little reserved today, I'm just kind of keeping my foot on the brake a little bit about all of this. So, okay, we do have a few things I do want to cover today. So the first of all is, well, I was going to, never mind.
He's like, how many baby jokes can I make right now?
Okay. No, I don't, because definitely don't have any good ones. The thing that I have heard from people a lot, just in the last maybe week or so, and we've been talking about here in the office, is the property tax, the budget hearing statements, the notification statements have gone out. Once again, people are really confused by this. What do we do? We've been trying to send people to the itrlocal.org website. Would you just kind of reset what the statements are, at least what information they're trying to convey, and what folks can do to try and make some sense of it all?
Yeah. So everyone got this mailer, and it's easy to turn it to the back and look at the percent increase.
Yeah.
And that's the number everyone's hanging on. Unfortunately, that's a hypothetical made up number.
So, but before we're talking about the form you got in the mail that will have the 3 different taxing entities on it.
Yeah, so it's got
city,
your
county,
address, city or school, county, and then city if you live in a city.
Right.
And don't even flip it over.
Okay.
Like just don't look at the back. The back makes absolutely no sense. It's all just
that's all the hypothetical. If you lived in $100,000 house and it became $100,000,
exactly.
Just pretend it's not there.
Right.
Okay.
And so really what you just want to look at is current. What's the current situation? And so they have dollars and rate. And then you have proposed dollars and rate. And the effective is in the middle. And all effective means is that if assessments changed in your district and they were going to collect the exact same amount of dollars, what rate would they need to do that?
Can I jump? I'm sorry. I tend to somewhat ignore the middle column because
You can do that too.
It is, because at least it's constructed without any extra explanation. It loses its meaning. I know what it's trying to convey. But before we go any further, I want to work backwards, because usually I'm going to go off on my rant that we get to at the end. The whole thing is to try and show you what the impact of this year's budget, this year's property taxes is going to do to you, property tax owner, right? Is to give you that information.
Yeah, it's an informational tool.
The only number I care about is how much is my bill going up. Full stop. Don't care about levy rate. Don't care about rollback. Don't care about effective rates. I care about, I paid X number of dollars last year and I'm going to pay Y number of dollars next year. That's it. And so all of this is an attempt to try and get us more information on what that number is going to look like. Sorry I interrupted. Please continue.
No, you're exactly right. And really what needs to happen is, we get that assessment notice in the mail, and that's personal to us. So I see how it affects my house. Why can't they do that for my taxes?
Right.
And that's what, we've been working, you have been working with lawmakers trying to change that. But
and it looks like, that is in multiple bills that are floating around the State House right now on a form that my understanding has been authored by the League of Cities. And it's pretty good. It's modeled largely after the Minnesota model that we have shared with a lot of folks. And that would provide a lot more information for people. But anyway, yes.
So really what you want to look at is if you're, forget the levy rate too, because that doesn't matter. You want to look at the dollars, because if the dollars collected are going up, your taxes are going up. If they're going down, they're going down.
Right.
And I just talked to some taxpayers last night, and across their whole community, their levy rates are going down.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, but they're raising taxes like $600,000. You're going to pay more in taxes. The levy rate does not matter. You got to look at the dollars collected. And once they understood that, they're like, oh, I get it. So what we've done is we've created a calculator. And all the calculator does is it just, you put your assessments in there.
The homework you have to do is, what was your assessment last year? What's your assessment this year? So that you can calculate it, right? You do have to do your homework and know what your assessed value.
And you should be able to go to your auditor's website and go to Beacon and grab that. If you can't, you can call your auditor and get it. If you're my grandma, you probably have a filing cabinet and you have it all the way back to 1985. But so you just put your assessments in there, and then you put the current tax rate and the proposed tax rate, and it'll tell you what that changes on your individual
raw dollar amount.
Dollars. And now that's before any exemptions. So if you're a veteran, senior, you've got forestry, whatever, it's before all of that.
Yeah.
But really that's an important tool, because if you're going to go to your public hearing, you need to know how this is impacting your budget and your family and your dollars.
For example, mine, I live in Urbandale. The levy rate was reduced, not by as much as it would have been if they'd have kept it status quo, but it did go down. Plus the community's growing. I plugged mine into the calculator, and I think it was like a plus or minus of $6. So really not much. You've got the growth that's bringing in more tax revenue, but they really aren't collecting a whole lot extra from me. I could quibble about some of their spending decisions, which we have talked about, but by and large, status quo. But I needed the calculator to be able to understand all of that.
Yeah, and so like my school district, mine's going up $315.
Yeah.
And it's because they have declining enrollment, and they're just pushing it onto the taxpayer. And newsflash, the reading scores are still in the toilet.
Yeah.
So let's have a declining enrolled school with bad test scores asking for more money. That's the story across a lot of Iowa, unfortunately. So anyway, and then there's a video. We put a video together just to walk people through the calculator to show you where to get everything. I appreciate feedback if you watch the video and you say it's not clear, because we're here to make it easy to understand for folks.
We understand that it's complicated. Iowa's property tax system is complicated. And to really know what your bill is, you got to do a little work. We're trying real hard to get the system, with these statements and everything, it is something a little bit more accessible. I mean, we had a member recently that, there's so much information on that form that they even missed when the date of the budget hearing was, even though it's printed on there. But it's hard. Sometimes you miss the thing. So bottom line is we've got tools that can help you work through that. And it's at itrlocal.org. It's right there, in addition to all the other information.
Well, and that's why we put it on ITR Local, because like you go there, like, so for example, my school's going up. So then I can go to the page and look at the details in my school, and then I can have questions ready for my school board. You know, if your city is going up, or heck, even if it's going down, maybe you should thank them for lowering taxes. They never hear that.
We have said, I've tried to make perfectly clear, there are a lot of really good local electeds in the state of Iowa that they're really in the trenches doing the thing, doing it, trying to be as responsible as they can. And it's a reminder to myself, I think, and everyone, that we can't paint with too broad of a brush, because there are a lot of really good folks and entire councils or boards that are trying to go the right direction. It's hard. It is a difficult job. But yes, if they are doing the thing and doing a good job, they absolutely should get positive feedback. It's easy, whether it's Congress, president, all the way down to your local, township, to be mad at government, at the things that it's doing wrong or not doing the way you want. But they actually are doing good things along the way. I mean, less so maybe in Washington, D.C., but I digress. But yeah, like
most of Iowa local governments are trying to do a good job. They might not know or have the experience or have the guidance to make the right decision by the taxpayer, but they're not out there trying to do a bad job.
In many cases, they are folks that are working hard. They're your neighbors. They're not doing it so that they can, for some really nefarious reason, although some of them are. But it is. They're good people trying to do the right thing, and we should try to remember that whenever we can. Okay, way too much happy talk about local government. We gotta snap back to what it is we came here to do, Sarah. I guess I want to stay just a little bit on. You have tried in a lot of your work to bring some awareness. I think up and down the city, you work with a lot of local electeds. You work with a lot of the technical details, but you also work with trying to bring some understanding at a more basic level to folks at some of the basics and how things work. You have continued to work with local electeds around the state. You also, folks don't realize, travel around the state and talk to groups sometimes. Where were you?
I was in Rockwell City in Calhoun County last night.
So how'd that go?
Well, it's always nice to get out of my little bubble. Yeah. So I got my 3-hour drive in last night. It was good. It was good to hear from people and hear their questions and see what they were talking about. And, when you're in this stuff day in and day out, you forget sometimes really simple stuff people don't understand. Like, they hadn't heard about the property tax proposals of the legislature. They knew there were some, but they didn't know what the details were and what was happening with it. And a lot of them we talked through the property tax statement. Mm-hmm. They didn't understand that. A lot of them were shocked to see the test scores for their school district. Yeah. And they were like, that's horrible. Like, why are only 40% of our third graders at reading level? So we kind of just talked through a lot of different things. Surprisingly, Rockwell City, the little red line, mm-hmm. they were not unreasonable. Yeah. But their county and their school were. And so I told them, it was like, local governments don't talk to each other. Yeah, your school district is not going to go to the city and say, hey, we're going to do a bond, or we need to do this. What are you guys doing? So we don't price gouge out our residents. They're very siloed and autonomous. And so understanding that each level of government is kind of operating by itself, yet when the bill comes in, it's all lumped together. So we had a really great discussion, just understanding all of those dynamics and how ITR Local works and the resources that are out there. Because, as a taxpayer, sometimes you get intimidated. You think, wow, these guys are elected officials. They do this stuff all the time. They know everything.
Let me tell you that much of that sort of reverence is often misplaced. I can tell you from firsthand knowledge, and I'm speaking to myself personally, like, do not ascribe a whole lot of extra knowledge to your elected official. They're doing good work, but they're not somehow, empowered with a whole lot of extra knowledge and ability.
Well, but then I also told him, it's like, you're an expert in your own life. They might know their budget or the city administrator might know the details of the city. It's like, but, when my property taxes go up, I know my budget and I know what I'm spending on my family. And I know that if my taxes go up, I know what I'm going to have to cut or have to fix to make ends meet. And it's like, and you're the expert in your life. That's what you need to share.
That's exactly right. And the thing that I have shared with folks, really going back to the beginning of ITR Local and as we communicate with our members, do not go in and try to argue the specifics and the mechanics of that local budget. When you go to talk to your city council or your board of supervisors, you talk about your own budget and less about local government's budget, because that is the thing they cannot argue. You start arguing about their budget, they do know more than you. And often it will get you twisted around, and you find yourself trying to argue some nuanced detail about some line item in the budget that you just don't know. But they can't argue with the fact that your own bill goes up year after year and that you're tapped out. They can't argue against your own personal lived experience.
Right, exactly. I was like, if you've got someone in your home that has a chronic medical problem and you've got high medical bills every year and you're trying to make ends meet and then your property tax goes up $500, that's a big hit if you're on a limited income, and they can't argue that. That is your life and that is what you're living. So we kind of talked through that. Now, on the property tax calculator page, we also have kind of a guide.
Yeah.
And I told them, getting escorted out by the sheriff because you're yelling and screaming obscenities at your local officials doesn't usually work. We need to be respectful.
We feel you. We hear you.
Yeah, but taking the pitchfork to your public hearing.
I want you to feel heard by me personally. However...
So we talked about how to be respectful, and not that anyone there was saying they were going to do that, but just reminding people that local elected officials are people too. Treat everybody with respect. Wow. But on the backside, I've heard from a lot of people that say, my supervisors or my city council, they push back and they say, well, where should I cut? I don't know where to cut.
Dude,
where should I cut?
That's their job. I elected you to figure that out.
But that's why we put that hierarchy pyramid in there. And so... a lot of people don't realize this, but fire and police service is mandated by state law. They can't cut those. I mean, they can cut them, but they can't eliminate them. But they can stop giving out handouts to developers for building whatever in their community. And they can stop putting in aquatic centers, and they could privatize golf courses and all of it. So we kind of
can I just make the fundamental thing? If you ever hear somebody and a local official ask you, where should I cut? Don't answer that question. Spin it. Where do you want me to cut?
Oh yeah, that's a really good.
Where do you want me to cut? You can't live in a 2% growth, which we'll get to a little bit. The proposal at the Capitol this year is local government can only raise property taxes on aggregate 2% a year. You can't make it work inside of 2%. Guess what? 2% is all I got. Where am I supposed to cut? I got kids. I got a mortgage. I got healthcare expenses. Where do you want me, as the citizen who pays the bills, to cut? Don't ever take that premise, because the fundamental thing that I believe with every ounce of my being, and I will fight for, and is underpinning all of this, is that the taxpayer's budget always matters more than local governments.
Yeah, and I think they need to remember that when their assessor comes and asks for an 18% pay raise. I've been hearing about these local officials getting ridiculous pay raises, and I love what I do, but I know not to ask for an 18% pay raise. Sarah, that's ridiculous.
You do good work for this organization, and you are not getting 18%. So, anyway. That's all I'm saying.
But who does? Who gets an 18% pay raise?
So.
That's ridiculous.
Maybe I shouldn't be that fired up about it, but
you can't have a baby, so you just keep on going.
ITR member, ITR podcast listener, your budget is more important than theirs. They do very important things inside of their budget. They have demands on that budget and very important things. I get it. They got to try and stretch a dollar. They might have to cut things they don't want to cut. I get all of it, but your budget is always more important. Don't ever accept that premise.
And I don't want to get into the micro level. Well, I lie. I do like to get to the micro level.
Yes,
but like we had an example last night, and this woman said, well, our high school has this track, and I guess the track is not safe. And so the school board wants to do a bond to rebuild the track because they're afraid some kid's going to fall on the track and they're going to have a lawsuit. And she said, and then kids are going to go to other school districts and stuff. So she said, I understand it. So then I pushed back and I said, okay, well, that's SAVE, the 1 cent, in sales tax. That was meant to go to schools so they didn't have to raise property taxes to fix these things. Where are their SAVE dollars going?
Right.
What about like all these PEPAL dollars, all these other infrastructure dollars? Why do we have to always ask for more? And she went, oh, I never thought about that. And I was like, I'm not saying that the track project is bad.
No.
I'm not saying I don't want kids to run and not trip and not be safe.
What does an unsafe track for kids look like?
Well, if you have the old asphalt tracks and there's like divots in the asphalt, you can actually trip. Have you ever ran track and actually like tripped on your spikes and fallen face first?
Do I look like I ran track?
Okay, so I have. So I've ran on those before. But again, it's like if I look at the finances,
I get it. I know what you're talking about.
It's like I'm not saying the project is bad. What I'm saying is, why do we always have to go to the taxpayer and ask for more? Where's the money going? Is it already allocated? Was there a bad decision made 10 years ago and this school board's hands are tied? I don't know the answer to those questions. But as a taxpayer, you can't just sit there and say, well, that sounds good. Well, no, there's more to it, right?
It's
Anyway.
Priorities. It's just about setting priorities. They have the resources.
They do. They do. And if you listen to the Dave Ramsey podcast, he gets into this all the time. He's like, you're broke. You can't spend anymore.
Yeah.
Like you can't afford that car. It's time to sell it. And sometimes you have to make hard decisions, and local governments sometimes need to do the same thing.
I come back to we need a Dave Ramsey for government.
I so want to invite him on a podcast. I don't know if he would do it.
Do you ever watch do you ever see the what's the guy's name? Caleb Hammer? Mm-mm. He's sort of like the angry Gen Z Dave Ramsey. Who doesn't, I'll have to show you to him. I get a kick out of him, too. Financial audit. And he gets these people who are just train wrecks on his show. And it's like, what are you doing? And just start screaming obscenities at them for how much they've screwed their lives over. It's fantastic. Anyway, all right. Well, good. Maybe instead of Dave Ramsey, you need Caleb Hammer up here for local governments. All right. I do want to make sure we get to this before all 18 listeners drop off of the show. Sorry.
You're so optimistic.
Yeah, I know. It is more than that, I promise. We have one of the big things that you work on is the local government symposium. And that is coming up again this summer. I want you to just set the stage for all that because we may not get you back on the show for a while so that we have this. Tell us about the local government symposium and what details folks need to know about.
So we're going to host, it's an in-person event. It'll be in the Des Moines metro area. We haven't nailed the exact location down yet. It's going to be Thursday, July 16th.
Okay.
And we're going to do things a little bit different this year. Last year, we brought in great speakers. We had really great feedback.
What are you saying? This year, we're not going to bring in great speakers?
Well, this year, I think we need it more interactive.
Kidding.
You're so funny. We had a lot of local government officials that were asking questions.
Right.
And when you have that 1 hour or 45-minute panel, you kind of can't get that engagement level that you really want. So we're going to do breakout sessions this year. So city and county are going to have Mark Moses.
Yeah.
So they get to ask him questions and really talk about the specifics in their community and how they handle that. And then we're bringing in a school finance expert in Iowa. He's a former superintendent and CFO. He's worked in urban and rural districts, 30-year veteran. Really, really great guy. And we're going to use our new finance toolkit.
Yep.
And we're going to have a breakout session for school board members. And the reason why is because people just have questions and they need to be in a comfortable environment where they can ask these questions and learn and take these tools back to their community. We're going to have Alan back. He's going to talk about current local government legal issues. what's going on there.
Does Alan know that he's coming back?
Alan knows he's coming.
Good.
Yeah. He's on the calendar. Leadership Institute's going to come in, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about like how to talk to the public. You know, if you want to communicate, do a newsletter, you know, how to communicate in social media, just some tips and tricks on how to get that information out there. If your wife doesn't schedule your family vacation during the same time you're going to be there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So anyway, so we've kind of got
I'll be there.
We've got a full lineup of like just really great people. But last time I think the most feedback was it was so good. I just wanted more interaction and more like give and take. Yeah. And so we want to provide the information, but also allow that opportunity to learn and really take tools back to your community.
I think so too. I thought last year's, which first year we did it, was really good. Tons of good information. I left thinking that there was a hunger for that content among a lot of the folks that were there, and I still think that there's a whole lot more than just the people in the room across the state that want that, specifically directed at local elected officials, local, not necessarily electeds, but local officials and those running for office, or even just those that really care about these local issues. It's a ton of content, but it's really good. And I know that you spent a lot of time, a lot of effort putting that together. So I just put it on people's radar.
Yeah. So put it on your calendar. July 16th, it's free to attend. We had candidates. So if you're running for board of supervisors, come learn. Local elected officials are more than welcome. And then community activists. So we had some former mayors come, and they just wanted to learn so that way they could help guide their current elected officials and activists in the community. So it's really for that kind of group of people.
I know for a fact that there were people in the room last summer who maybe had already decided to run for office, but were much better candidates because they had been to that event. They had interacted with the policy information, they interacted with the political information, they became better candidates, and they won their election, and they are making a difference in their given board. I know, because I've talked to those people, that event did that, and that is really cool to watch.
Yeah, and so that's why we really hope it grows. You know, I've talked to Leadership Institute about maybe coming back and doing a whole campaign training to help folks out. So we want it to grow. We want it to get bigger. We're listening to people. So anyway, July 16th, local government symposium, Des Moines metro area. We'll be sending out information on that. But I'm real excited because it's local government focused.
And as a reminder to folks out there, we have the ITR Tax Day Luncheon coming up still on April 1st. So all the details for that are at taxrelief.org. And you can go on there and get registered. If you're just in it for the free meal, we've got you covered. 2 big events coming up over the next few months. So
yeah, we like food, so
we're happy to feed you if you just come and sit and listen to us talk for a while. As opposed to, I guess, on the podcast, you get to sit and listen in the comfort of your own home. But be it as it may, we'll feed you too if you want to do it in person. So, all right, that's about all I got for today. Anything else that you want to share with the folks? Not that there really is, but
well, we've got that new 2% article on the website.
Yep.
You know, so the legislature is still talking about stuff, and I think it's important for people to know that when we talk about limiting the property tax growth at 2% per year, we're not talking about cutting.
Yes.
We're talking about limiting the growth, and it's important for folks to understand that while property taxes are a significant portion of local government revenue, it's not the only revenue they receive.
Yep.
And so those other revenue sources are being discussed in some bills, not in other bills. Anyway, there's an article that discusses that on the website. Really great read. Chris wrote it.
Yep.
But
and hopefully, I think, work on another article talking about rollback, just if you want to know the basics, all that too. So we got a lot of just solid foundational content up right now at itrfoundation.org.
Yeah, because people they want to understand how it works.
Yep.
And it helps if you understand how things work, because then you can have a better conversation. And, you know, one thing I do want to reiterate is a lot of these local government officials, school board and city council in particular, they're pretty much volunteers. Yeah. And they don't get paid for this. And so a lot of them just are well-intended, but they don't have the time. They have other jobs, so they don't have the time to sit there and study this stuff like we do. Mm-hmm. And so hearing from taxpayers and even sharing these resources with them is helpful because it helps them learn too.
Yep. No, that's exactly right. And that's a good reminder. So, all right. Well, that's all the time we got for today. Thank you very much. And we'll look forward to the next time that you can be with us here on the ITR Live podcast. But no, tons of good information today. I guess in summary, get on the calculator, get on itrlocal.org, get the information, and so you can understand the process better. And we will continue to work to try and make all of this a little bit easier to understand so that we can collectively get the government that we want in the state of Iowa. So, all right. Well, that's what we got for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends. And with that, we will see you next time on ITR Live.